Whether you're a newly graduated doctor of chiropractic or have spent years in practice, you're well aware of the drug crisis and how it's impacting healthcare. Even many of your most loyal patients are likely still taking over-the-counter or prescription medication from time to time, and for the general public, it's an epidemic of runaway use. Hi, I'm Peter Crownfield, Executive Editor of Dynamic Chiropractic, and today we're discussing the magnitude of the drug crisis, specifically the prescription drug crisis, with Donald Petersen, publisher of DC. Let's take a look at the shocking statistics regarding prescription drug use in America today and talk about what you, the doctor of chiropractic, can do to reverse this disturbing trend. Don, it's just not a pretty picture when it comes to prescription drug use today, is it?
No, it's definitely not. There's a trend that's been taking place in our country for a long time now, a trend that has grown beyond what you might be aware of. According to the results of a study published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in September 2011, the percentage of Americans that are on prescription drugs in a given month rose from 39.1% in the late 1980s to 47.2% in the mid-2000s. That's not a percentage of adults taking prescription drugs, that's everyone. Based on this growth trend, it's likely that 2012 will be the very first year in our nation's history when more than half of the citizens are on some kind of prescription drug. Looking at the data more closely, as of 2008, in a given month, we find that almost 1/4 of all children under 12 years of age are taking at least one prescription drug. Almost 30% of our teens are taking at least one prescription drug. Almost half of all adults and almost 90% of our seniors are also taking at least one prescription drug. Imagine, only 10% of our seniors are not on prescription drugs. And sadly, over half of all women, regardless of age, are taking at least one prescription drug. As we break down these figures, we find that among children, 14% are taking one prescription drug, almost 5% are taking two, and almost 3% are on 3 to 4 prescription drugs. 17% of teens take one prescription drug, with approximately 7% taking two and almost 5% taking 3 to 4. Almost 1 out of every 5 adults takes one prescription drug, 1 out of 9 take 2 prescription drugs, almost 1 out of 10 takes 3 to 4, and almost 1 out of 12, that's 8%, takes 5 or more. Our senior population is perhaps the most drug reliant, with 12% taking one prescription, another 12% taking 2 prescriptions, over a quarter taking 3 to 4 prescriptions, and over a third taking 5 or more prescription drugs. Why so many prescription drugs? That's easy to answer. The same study breaks down the most used drugs by type and age group. In order of frequency of use, we find that our children are taking drugs for asthma, allergies, and infections. Our teens, they're taking drugs for attention deficit disorder, asthma, and antidepressants. Adults are taking antidepressants, pain relievers, and cholesterol-lowering drugs. Seniors are also taking their cholesterol-lowering drugs, beta blockers, and diuretics. Looking specifically at the growing trend of antidepressant use, we see in another study that almost 11%, that's 1 in 9 Americans ages 12 and older, are now taking antidepressants. Currently, 3.7% of our teenagers are taking antidepressants, with 22.8% of their mother, women 40 to 59 years of age, setting the example. And as we know, taking drugs is generally self-perpetuating. Recent research has shown common over-the-counter drugs like acetaminophen increase the risk of asthma and eczema in our children. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are associated with erectile dysfunction. Early antibiotic use increases the risk of asthma and allergies in children. Antidepressants are associated with an increased risk of stroke. Finally, in a recent study found that expectant mothers who take antidepressants within a year before their babies are born increase their likelihood that their babies will be born with autism. This study found that the risk of babies being born autistic more than doubled for mothers who took antidepressants within 1 year of birth. For those mothers who took antidepressants during the first trimester of pregnancy, their babies were almost 4 times more likely to be born autistic than babies born from mothers not taking antidepressants. This is where so-called modern medicine has led us in this country.
That's tough to hear, Don. The question is, can anything be done about prescription drug use? Recent evidence suggests public opinion actually may hold the key. For example, in a November 2011 National Telephone Survey, 52% of respondents said they believe doctors write too many prescriptions. In fact, Americans young and old, from the 18 to 29 age group to age 65 and older, were consistent in their opinion. Doctors overprescribe. What's more, a recent study by researchers at the University of Illinois of Chicago College of Pharmacy concluded that Americans would not only save money, but might actually be healthier if they didn't take so many prescription drugs. The takeaway here, particularly in light of the startling figures Don provided, is that while more people are taking more prescription drugs, it isn't necessarily what they want or need to maximize their health and wellness. Don, with these studies in mind, how can doctors of chiropractic take advantage of this to help reverse the prescription drug trend?
As a profession, we cannot wait for people to have a life-threatening experience due to prescription drug side effects. It is our responsibility to make our patients and our communities aware of the dangers that are inherent in every drug. Remember, there is no such thing as a completely safe drug. Every drug has side effects. The only mystery is, what are those side effects and when will we find out about them? As a doctor of chiropractic, you have the knowledge to lead people away from drugs toward wellness-oriented alternatives. You can share your knowledge of chiropractic, nutrition, and other non-drug remedies that can help people regain and maintain their health without the dangers of drugs. Peter, I just think we need to speak up as a profession and as individual doctors and students.
That's great advice. To hear more of Don's thoughts on this important topic, read his report of findings in the January 1, 2012 issue of DC, or visit us online at dynamicchiropractic.com.